I'm Jane Nicholson, your Miss Confidence Canada 2021, and this is my interview with the Pageant Project.
Hello, everyone. It's Adrian from the Pageant Project with you. My special guest for today from Canada is Jane Nicholson, who is Miss Confidence Canada 2021. Jane, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. How are things going in sunny, I hope, sunny Canada?
It's going pretty good. So I'm in Nova Scotia right now, and we're having this nice transition into fall, which fall is just my favorite. So I'm really happy about it.
Oh, you're one of those weird people who, when I say, do you prefer summer or winter, there's always someone who goes fall or spring. So
Yeah.
you
Oh,
prefer the
fall
fall.
all the way. Give me like the pumpkin spice lattes, the cozy sweaters, all that stuff. It's my favorite.
Can't you have pumpkin spice lattes whenever you want?
You can, but it's not the same. You need to experience the fall air, everything like that. Do you like summer better?
I'm a summer person. I used
Mm.
to be a tennis coach. I love the sun. I love being tanned. I love it being warm. It just puts me in a good mood. I don't mind fall or spring. I'm not a fan of winter. I can't do
See,
winter.
I I don't like the weather in winter, but I'm obsessed with Christmas and everything to do with it. So, and just like the holiday season, like curling up with like a hot chocolate on the couch and it's like snowing out and close to Christmas, it's like my dream.
Well, your winter is better than our winter. First off, remember for us, our Christmas is in summer. So it's very weird for you guys because we're the other way
That's
around. So
crazy.
we're, 30 degrees, 40 degrees Celsius on the beach having prawns and barbecues. But the other thing is with winter, you guys can do more. In Canada, you can do more in winter. Like you have snow sports. So winter could
Yes.
be fun. Whereas in Sydney, at least, there's no snow or ice. So winter is not fun. It's just kind of cold. So
That's so
it's the cold
true.
without the fun, which is not, that might explain a lot. Because when I have
Yeah.
spent time in the northern hemisphere when it's been snowing and ice, I get excited. Whenever I see
Yes.
snow, I get really, really excited, stupidly
That's true.
excited like a kid.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, snow totally makes it better.
Yeah, so you can actually do something. Ralph here has said, good evening, Adrian and Jane. Hello, Ralph.
Hi, Ralph.
Jane, why don't we start with the easy question and tell us how you got
Okay,
involved in the crazy world of pageantry to begin with?
perfect. So it's kind of a funny story because I'm pretty new to pageantry actually. So it was in the thick of quarantine and like lockdown here in Canada, and I was on just this rabbit hole on YouTube. And I didn't even know pageantry was a huge thing in Canada, honestly. I just thought it was kind of in the States. And then I remember I saw a video of a girl from the States who she signed up for a pageant, had no idea anything about pageantry, but she had the best time, just went in, zero expectations, just had so much fun. And everything that she kind of said, I was like, wow, I would really like that. I would really like that. And then I was like,
Hmm.
oh, I wish there was something like that in Canada. So then I YouTubed Miss Canada, and then Maria Gerlando, who is the 2018 winner of Miss Canada, came up and her video just talking about her experience about it. And again, everything that she mentioned, I was like, I would love that. I would love that. And then I Googled Miss Canada. It was 50% off at the time. So all the stars were aligning for me. This was literally at like 1 or 2 in the morning. I was just like on my couch on my laptop. And then I signed up for Miss Canada and I creeped Maria on Instagram, saw that she was a pageant coach, DM'd her. I was like, I just did this crazy thing. I signed up for Miss Canada and I don't know anything about pageantry. So then I started working with her. And then, of course, because I was signed up in COVID times, it got postponed quite a few times. So I was preparing for this pageant for over a year, but it just happened in August in Montreal. And it was my first in person pageant experience. And it was so much fun. And now I'm just hooked. I want to do like a million more pageants now.
I was going to say, because you signed up during the pandemic, you're different in the way that a lot of the other people that I've interviewed, they're used to the in person. and the COVID stuff, the virtual stuff was the exception. You're kind of the other way around, where you started during pandemic where everything was virtual or just cancelled, and then you had an in-person one for the first time. Can you compare the virtual and in-person experience? Like, were there bits is there one that you clearly prefer, or were there kind of bits of both that you enjoyed?
Bits of both that I enjoyed, but yeah, it's funny because I did, I think, 4 virtual pageants, 3 or 4 virtual pageants before I ever did an
Mm,
in-person one. So all
yeah,
the girls were like, "Oh, these virtual pageants," and I'm just like, "This is all I know. This is like my bread and butter now."
yeah,
Um, so the thing I really liked about the virtual pageants is it was kind of just amazing in the fact that you could get ready like the hour before your interview, do your makeup, your hair, and then sit on for the interview. And then
hmm,
like 10 seconds after the interview, I'd have like all my makeup off and I'd be sitting in my house coat just like scrolling Instagram. So that was kind of cool. But there's nothing I don't think that could really compare to the in-person aspect, like
yeah,
connecting with all those girls and like having roommates and going out to dinners and being on stage. Like I would do for virtual, I would do my walks like in my living room or like in my garage or something. And then to do it like on stage, that feeling was just so crazy.
yeah. Yeah, it's not the same at all. I mean, the thing that I do like about doing stuff like this is, I mean, firstly, you can connect with people around the world. But secondly, I mean, I don't wear makeup, obviously, but the camera only sees what's here. So under this, I mean, I'm wearing a nice suit on top, but underneath this, like it's track pants and socks. So you don't have to go the whole 9 yards. When you went down you said you went down the rabbit hole. You're not the first person, by the way, to use that exact terminology when they were funny about pageants. What were the things that got you excited? Because you said, "Oh, I want that. I like this. I want that." What were the particular facets that got you excited enough to pursue pageantry?
So it was definitely just like the getting glam and doing the different interviews that really got me excited. All the wardrobe got me really excited. Just like the hustle of backstage, all that kind of stuff. It just seemed so like glamorous to me and something that I really wanted. I actually used to do baton twirling back in the day. And so I did baton twirling and something called majorettes, which majorettes is more like old school parade kind of thing. And at the
Right,
majorette competitions, we used to do what's called a model walk in front of the judge. And then we would actually sit down for an interview with the judge. So I was doing that for years and years. And it was something that I always loved and I was actually fairly good at. And I loved getting the sash and the crown and all that kind of stuff. So pageantry was just like a no brainer that I was like, oh, it could be like my baton days when I loved having the crown and the
mm.
sash and walking in front of a judge. It kind of sounds weird that like someone would like to walk in front of a judge, but it was just fun for me.
I've heard that before. I think a lot of people who do pageantry ongoing, they actually love being on stage.
Yes.
They love
All the
being they're born performers. Let's say they like being the center of attention, where a lot of other people may not like that. I'm glad you brought up the baton twirling. So, can you describe? I was actually going to message you to see if you had a baton there, but
I
I
do.
think everyone at some stage has picked up a broom handle or a stick, and they've seen the martial arts. Maybe it's a Star Wars or lightsaber thing. I've seen this on TikTok again, and they want to learn the twirling. Every time I do it, I end up dropping it or getting it stuck somewhere. Can you give me a very basic tutorial on how to twirl? Because I would love to
Yes.
know.
Should I actually go grab a baton right quick?
Yeah, if you
Okay.
have it. I mean, you've got
I'll
your
bring
AirPods. So.
yeah, I'll bring the laptop with me. It's funny. I have like at all times in my trunk, don't ask me why, like a whole bag filled with batons, but I actually brought it in today.
A whole bag? How many batons is in a bag?
Oh, just let me show you. I have a lot.
I can't
Well,
wait to see this. I
there's
just thought there'd
different
be one. I didn't realize
kinds.
it'd be a bag. Okay.
Yeah, so this is my bag. And I have
Good
about
God.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 batons in here. So here's one of them. So basically,
Wow.
what we would always teach like the little girls and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so I'll do the horizontal one first. So it's just kind of like you're spinning, like
Yeah.
stirring some soup, and then you just get
Right.
wider and wider, and then it's gonna go like this. I don't know if you can't really see that. My sleeve's getting caught here. So this is like a horizontal. And then the vertical one of that is this. And the way we
That's the
teach,
one that I can't figure out.
yeah.
How do you do that one?
So how we teach this is you scoop an ice cream on this side, and then you go back and scoop it on this side, scoop your ice cream here, scoop your ice cream here, and it's just on the wrist. You just got to get loose with the wrist and then go like this.
I know what I'm going to be doing for the rest of this week is every free moment it's practicing that. I'm going to have to watch it back in slow motion though. It's too
Yes.
quick for me. If someone wanted to practice that at home, because look, us Aussies are still stuck in quarantine, so we need something to do. How important is it that you practice with something like a real baton versus just picking up like a broom handle? Because I can see the baton, it's smooth, it's metallic, and it's got weights at the end. Is that important when you're learning?
Yeah, I would say so, just because it is like weighted, like this side is
Mm.
bigger than say this side. So it's all like, I'm not a big science or
Oh,
physics person, but it's physics.
yeah.
So when you toss it or roll it, it like allows it to actually roll. And when you're doing stuff like this, it just flows easier. Um,
Yeah.
because it's funny, if I was to go try and twirl a broomstick, it would be actually quite hard. But if you're just playing around, just doing the horizontal or the vertical thing that I just showed you, a broomstick would be absolutely fine. So definitely a fun quarantine activity.
I look. I just want to show off that skill at some point without dropping it on my foot and breaking my toes. I've tried
Oh no.
juggling, and
Oh,
juggling they have proper juggling balls which are weighted.
yeah.
Which makes it a bit easier. I'm a tennis coach. I was practicing with tennis balls. It's a lot harder because for some reason you can't really feel where they are, but with the juggling balls, it's a lot easier. So I was curious about the baton. How heavy, like roughly, is that? It looks like
Mm,
it's got a bit of heft.
yeah, I would say, oh, I'm not good at this at all. Like grams, let's
Flour?
see.
Is it like a bag
Yeah.
of flour? Bag of
Oh, way less than a bag of flour.
Okay.
Like, I want to say, like, people are going to laugh at me if I'm really off, but like maybe 50 grams. I don't know.
It's probably more than okay, I got it. So it's not that heavy, but it is
Oh,
weighted
no.
at the ends.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
it's so light. Like maybe it would be kind of similar to like a broomstick, but just the difference in being like the weights on the
Yeah.
ends.
Yeah, given the way you're tossing it around, it's actually light. I think it's lighter than I thought it was. So you
Yeah.
said you had 6 in your bag. So what's the difference for us baton twirling novices? What's the difference
Um,
between all 6?
there's like different name brands and stuff. So this one is Star, and this brand is actually like towards. So I don't do baton twirling anymore, but this was actually my favorite brand towards the end. I just liked the weight and all that kind of stuff. And then I also have a pink one with pink
Of course.
ends. And this one was kind of cool because see how it's like shaped different at the end?
Mm.
So when you drop it, it literally, because sometimes if you're like performing, and you drop it because this is round, it will like roll away from you and you have to run after it. But this one was kind of nice because it just like stayed. But the thing I didn't like about
Right. Okay.
is that's happened a lot of times. But the thing I didn't like about this one is that this one is so light that I feel like there's
Right.
no
Yeah. I
nothing
get it.
to it. And then yeah, I just have like a couple. I don't even know why I have so many, but it's just over the years I just like kind of collected them and finally found my favorite one. And I feel like it's
Yeah.
kind of like, I don't know, if you're a hockey player, you probably like go through a lot of hockey sticks till you find the one that you really like. So it's kind of like that, I guess.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. As I said, I'm a tennis player, and you go through. So if you're doing it properly and you're playing, and when I say properly, I mean if you want to play competitively, you actually the process of picking the right racket is actually quite long and involved. And I went through. This guy took me through a testing process. I swear to God, he brought out 30 rackets at the same time onto one tennis court, and it was funny because you think you have to go through all of them. It would take hours, but literally, I would pick one up and I'd know instantly whether I liked it or not. And I actually liked the heavier ones. To this day, I still
Yeah.
play with a very heavy racket. And it's a weird thing. Everyone goes, "Oh, you should want a light one. It's easier." But it's like, no, The heavy one, I don't know. For whatever reason, I just trust it more.
Yeah.
I got to ask, what's the most embarrassing accident you can have with a baton? Because I've not done much, but I've already like hit myself in the face, dropped it on my foot, whacked myself in the back of the head.
This is the easiest question.
Okay.
So this is probably the most embarrassing story of my entire life, and I still think about it. And it was probably, I don't even know
You don't have
how.
a scar, do you?
No,
A scar?
thankfully,
Okay.
my ego was the only thing that was injured. So
Okay.
my baton team at the time, we went and we were performing for like an old folks home, just doing like little routines for the
Mhm.
old people. And I didn't notice that there was a huge chandelier above me. And so when I was doing I was in my routine and I did something that's called like a whip, and I just like went like this with it, and then
Oh no.
pieces of the chandelier fell off. And I was pretty young at this time, so I literally didn't even finish my routine. I was so embarrassed. I literally like grabbed my mom and we walked out the door and the music was like still playing. Like it was you know those things when you're like laying in bed and you're just trying to fall asleep and things just like haunt you in your brain. That moment haunts me in my brain.
Have you been to that home since then?
No, and I think I would be too traumatized to go back there. But other than that, of course, things happen. Like, if you, I don't know, everyone always drops their baton during like a routine or something like that. Well, not always, but
Yeah.
it's rare that you would have what's called a no drop.
Yeah.
And if you just like sometimes you just have butterfingers, and just to be on like in front of a judge when you're like really struggling, you just have to smile like crazy and just like act like you're calm, cool, and collected. So there's always little embarrassing things that have happened, but the chandelier one is definitely the top one for me.
Sounds exactly like pageantry. There's
Yeah,
always something that could go wrong, and if it does, the most important thing is that you laugh it off and carry on. You don't want
exactly.
to run into your mum's arms and then be carried off stage. That's exactly
Yes.
what you don't want to do.
Yep.
I don't know if any of the pageants you've competed in, have they had talent sections?
No, but I think that would be so much
No.
fun. I would love to do something like that and then like shine up on my baton, because I haven't practiced in like a while. There was World Baton Twirling Day not too long ago, and my team, we all got together again, and all the girls who were retired got together because everyone around the world does the same routine to the same song, and then you send
Oh
it in,
wow.
and they like put together a video. It's really cool actually. And just getting to do it again, and I still had like some of the tricks that I was able to do, and I was very proud of myself. I was like, this is so fun. I want to just go and like, even if I was just to practice like once a month, it would be fun. So I would definitely be up to doing like a pageant with a talent competition. I think that would be awesome.
What's the, and I won't get you to demonstrate it because you're obviously not outfitted for it, but what's the coolest trick you can do?
Oh, well, currently the coolest trick I can do, because I'm not as good as I used to be, is just like a toss illusion, which is kind of like, I guess, not that crazy, but it looks really cool. So, do you know what an illusion is by any chance?
Like rhythmic gymnastics, where the thing is up in the air and then you sort of do like a cartwheel with one leg.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gee,
so
and you do
that's
that whilst there's a baton in the air, or
yes.
do you keep the bat? No, you throw it
No,
in. Oh,
you
geez.
toss it and then you can do an illusion, and then I also can do a toss cartwheel, which is kinda cool too. But honestly, I find the coolest tricks are like elbow rolls and like all the when people roll them all over their bodies. I think that's the coolest.
How do you catch it? How do you catch a twirling baton? This is the thing I never understood. Like, I've seen with the rhythmic gymnastics and juggling, like, obviously you throw a ball up in the air, you catch it. But then you see people juggling knives and things like that, or torches, like flames. And you're like, well, obviously there's only one end of that that you would like to catch. So, how can you coordinate the catching, which is hard enough as it is, with catching it so that you can keep twirling it rather than just dropping it on the floor?
It just a lot of practice, hand-eye coordination, and just like do it again and again and again. And I feel like it's just all I feel like it's like dance, like when you do one movement, it flows into the other. And I feel like when you have a baton routine, your toss cartwheel, when you would catch it, you would just like flow into the next thing. So I think just like practice and like having good choreography.
Oh God, it sounds. I would love to see it. I'm
Yes.
just I can't fathom how to do it if I'm honest. Like it's just I can imagine throwing something up and catching it, but the whole, like, it's twirling, and I have no idea. I'm going to practice straight after this. I'm going to go. I'm not going to buy a baton. I've actually got a long stick here. I'll try doing it, and I'll probably break everything in my house. Melanie has said, "Hi, Adrian and Jane. Need to see you baton twirl at your next pageant."
Yes.
Yeah, just make sure there's no chandeliers above you.
Literally. Oh my gosh. I'll have to look up.
Oh, yeah. Do you have any like post-traumatic stress now? Wherever you see a chandelier, you begin to have nightmares. Is that a
no? But I'm surprised, honestly. I just whenever I think of that moment, I'm just like, ugh.
It's a shame there's no video of it that we can play. On
I would die.
On the subject of sports, talk to us about Olympic lifting, because I know that's something else that you are doing. I don't know to exactly what level you've done it to. I've done a little bit of it, and I was someone who never thought I would like lifting, because when I was in school, lifting weights was what we call them meatheads. I don't know what you call them in Canada. It's like, oh, if you go and work out, basically it means you're stupid. So not that I believe that anymore. But when I did Olympic lifting, I fell in love with it because of the technique behind it. It wasn't just how heavy can you lift, like learning how to do a snatch or a deadlift properly was really engaging for me to learn the technique. So talk to us a little bit about Olympic lifting.
Yeah, so I actually got into it because after I retired from baton twirling, my final year, I made Team Canada. And then I was like, okay, this is perfect. Retire on a year that I made Team Canada. Like, that's great. But then I'm also the type of person who always needs to be super involved in something. I can never just after work just like go home. I always have to be like doing something. So then my best friend's boyfriend, he went to a gym, and I always enjoyed working out even when I was doing baton. But never like Olympic style weightlifting, just like, squats, just like what everyone would do at like a, traditional commercial gym. And there was like a student sale, and I was a student at the time, wasn't making much money, so I didn't have anything, and they were doing this great sale. And then it was actually a CrossFit gym. So I started doing CrossFit, which I loved, but I'm not like cardio, all that stuff is not my favorite thing in the world. And I remember I was doing a CrossFit class, and you know how in CrossFit it's like you got to go as fast as you can all the time. And the coach, I think I was doing snatch or something, and I was doing snatch fairly slowly. And he was like, "Why are you going so slow?" And I said, I was like, "Because I want to do it right." And the coach, he loves Olympic style weightlifting like way more than CrossFit. So he was like, "Come to this class." So then I went to Olympic style weightlifting classes, and then I never went back to CrossFit. If you asked me to run right now, I would like die. But so now I'm just in love with Olympic style weightlifting and the technique aspect of it. It's funny because it's actually very similar to baton twirling, which is really weird. Like for baton, you would go in front of a judge. For Olympic style weightlifting to compete, you go in front of a ref. And you like the technique and everything like that. It's actually pretty similar, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it's just I love it so much, and I've been doing it for I don't even know, like 6 years, I'm gonna guess. I'm not like going crazy, like I'm not trying to compete, qualify for nationals or anything. I just do local meets. I try to always like do my best, get stronger and everything like that. But yeah, it's so much fun.
I think it's your journey is almost exactly the same as mine, because I got into Olympic lifting through CrossFit, and exactly like you, what I didn't like, and to this day I still don't like about CrossFit, is when you're doing the lifting, they want to do it for time. But I was like, no, that's the best way of injuring yourself, like throwing a weight around, especially when you don't really know what you're doing, and then trying to do it for time, or if and I don't know if you found it, because you said the techniques, a lot of them are similar. And it was the same with me with tennis, because tennis is a very core-centric and lower body-centric sport. You need to have that awareness as to when to turn the core on. And you need mobility in your shoulders and things like that. So maybe it's the same with baton twirling. But one of the struggles, for example, I had was with the mobility, not the strength, was in the shoulders. So when you lift something overhead, if you don't have the shoulder flexibility, you can't quite get it to vertical. So I wanted to work on things like that, rather than just doing it the wrong way a billion times. And I found it completely addictive. I certainly didn't do it for 6 years. I'd love to get back into it. Our gyms are closed at the moment. how what sort of, this is maybe a weird question to ask, but when you go to and do your Olympic lifting, do you also find it like it's a chance to zone out? I almost found it was like a meditation.
I 100% agree. I find so I like I'm a business owner. I do all these like different things, but I find I get anxious a lot of the time. But
Yeah,
I find when I go to the gym and I say I'm snatching, it's like my mind is only thinking about,
yeah,
keeping my core tight, staying over the
yeah.
bar, putting my elbows up. It's not thinking about like, oh, I have this meeting tomorrow. Oh, I have this video that's due, all that kind of stuff. So I totally think it's like this therapeutic thing where it's really like your mind can only focus on what you're doing in the moment, which is really nice.
Yeah, yeah. That's probably the part that surprised me the most, and probably the part that I enjoyed the most, apart from trying to master the technique, was the fact that it forces your brain to be in the present. Because when you're lifting your body weight or whatever it is, half your body weight over your head, and you're not thinking about it properly, that tends not to end well. So that's a part about it I actually love the most.
Yeah, that's funny that you say also about tennis being like a core thing
Mm,
because Olympic style weightlifting is so much in the core. Baton twirling is very much in the core too, because when you're doing your
yeah.
spins and stuff, you want to really like. And it actually for Olympic style weightlifting, I did like a whole course on like learning how to channel in your abs and stuff. So it's funny that tennis is similar to that.
You would, I don't think I've ever talked about this but before, but I went to, on the subject of core and core activation, I have this amazing physio, and they have this machine. Well, it's like an ultrasound machine, like you would, if a woman's pregnant to see the baby. And what they used it for was to show how to activate the core, because the core is actually on the inside. It's not on the outside, the six pack that everyone wants. And then everyone likes to say, activate your core, use your core, tense your core. But people don't know how to do it because it's very difficult to explain how to do it. So they had this machine, and you'd be lying down on the table, and you'd have to activate your core. And you could literally see, because there's the outside muscle and the inside muscle, you could literally see when you were doing it. And it was fascinating to me. So very quickly, and I can still remember, it's probably 5 years ago, but I can still remember to this day the difference between activating your core and then just using the outside abs. And then the trick was, can you do that in sport? So I think a lot of these sports have core in common.
I
Um,
agree.
I've
And
not talked about this
even
on an interview before, but there you go.
And even in pageantry, when you're doing your walk, your
Yeah,
heels, you wanna be engaged in your core, and I think learning how to, like, engage, like, your real I always think of it like your real ab muscles. I think
yeah.
that's, like, so important, but it took a while to, like that's why I was so glad I did that course with a couple of
Mm.
the women that I train with at the gym because it taught me so much, and it really helps with my lifts now, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. I think for a lot of people, the physio was telling me it's actually exceedingly difficult for them to learn how to do it. But it's very important for pageantry and just for life, because that's posture as well. A lot of us have really
Yes.
bad posture. And then obviously it'd be good in your turns to have your core activated so that you don't, whilst you're spinning on the pageant stage, fall over. Well, that's certainly something I've not talked about in a pageant interview before, but that's
Yes.
another facet of life. Talk to us about your business. Remind me what it's called. Was this? I'm thinking
Arrow
Anchor. I
and
can't.
Arrow and Knot
Arrow.
Productions.
Why is it
Yes.
called Arrow Not? I meant to ask you.
So it's actually funny. Everyone always asks us that, and it's we knew we. So when I say we, it's myself and my business partner Kristen. We went to college together and studied journalism and TV production and all those things. So right before we graduated, we just decided to randomly start this business, and now 5 years later, almost 6 years later, it's still what we're doing. But I remember we were sitting in the classroom, kind of thinking about our business, and we knew we wanted it to be one pretty word and like the and sign, another pretty word. So we were like Pinteresting like whimsical words and all these things. And we found we picked knot first because we were like, oh, if we want to do wedding videography, tying the knot,
I've
all that
not.
stuff.
Yep.
And then we found the word arrow, which it's like the symbolism behind it is
Cupid.
really nice because, well, Cupid too. But when you're being pulled back in life, it just means that you're going to be launched forward, which we just thought was
Hmm.
really nice. And that it just sounded really good together, arrow and not production. So we just went with it. And honestly, I'm so happy still. Like, I thought maybe we wouldn't like it 5, 6 years later, but I'm still obsessed with it.
It's a cool name. I thought there would be more sort of a deeper meaning behind it, but it's nice to know
No,
that just pick the pretty words.
literally.
What on a daily basis? What does that business involve? I mean, I was talking to you before we went live about videography, and
Mhm.
that takes so much time. People don't understand. It's like a 5-minute wedding video. I mean, your videos would have a lot more editing than mine do because I find it frustrating sometimes just sitting there waiting for it. But on a daily basis, what does your business entail?
So in our busy season, which we're in right now because it's wedding season,
Hmm.
say we shoot a wedding on a Saturday, which typically weddings are, and we'll be there from say 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. for the whole day because we want to get shots of the
Oof.
girls getting ready, the guys getting ready, the ceremony, and then up until the dance, just because we want to have everything. And then our weekends are typically Sunday, Monday. And then we go back into the office on Tuesday and we just import and then we start pulling all the clips and then we edit for the entire week. And yeah, like you said,
Hmm.
people would think just like a 5-minute wedding video, it's like, oh, you can just throw that together. It's really not. We have to go through
Mm.
hundreds of all the clips that we took that day, pick all the good ones, sync up the audio with the video and color correction and all those things. So, and Kristen and I are both very much like perfectionists, and we really want to make everything just because these people are trusting us with the most important day of
Yeah.
their lives, and we really want to deliver for them. So we're very particular about what we do. So it does take a long time, but it's always so worth it in the end.
You're giving me anxiety as we speak because when I
Yes.
used to do interviews in person, I would take a 3 camera setup.
Yep.
So when you talk about color correction and audio and video sync up, I know exactly what you're talking about. But I've had issues where a memory card failed, or for some reason the
Oh,
battery didn't charge overnight and I don't have a spare one, or a tripod blows over, or for some reason I forgot to hit record. Don't do that. Uh, what sort of setup do you have to take? Like, because as you said, I mean, you can't get them. Oh, sorry, I forgot to hit record. Can you do the wedding again? What sort of setup do you have to take to 10 hours? I mean, what do you have to take?
so you just saying all that stuff, I so relate to everything that you just said, like the
That's
memory
why I
card
like doing
issues and
live now. I don't like doing live in it. There's so many things that can go wrong, especially when I've got to do the interview as well. I don't have a tech person there telling me, hey, the memory card's failed. No, I've done the whole interview and it didn't record.
yeah, that's brutal. So for us, say I'll do the ceremony for instance, because most people think that's the most important part of the wedding,
Mm,
obviously, where you actually get married. So we always do a 3 camera setup. So we
yep.
can get the bride's face, the groom's face, and then a wide, like a safety
A one
shot, we
shot.
call it.
Yeah.
And then we recently, it's funny because for the past couple of years, we've been using like the crappiest batteries. And then we've always been like stressing out about, oh, we need to get this battery. It's almost
Hmm.
charged. Like, but then we finally invested in good batteries. And we say this every wedding this like, season. We're like, why did we just do this? It's literally
Yeah.
life saving. So we shoot on
Yeah.
Nikon. So we got like actual Nikon batteries and it's like the best thing ever. Um, but and we get like big memory cards and thankfully there's usually two of us. So we're like, covering ourselves. And then for audio, because this is something Kristen, I always put her in charge of doing the audio because it stresses me out so much because
Yeah.
obviously audio is the most, I think one of the most important parts because you obviously
I
want to
agree.
hear them.
Yeah.
And good audio, my instructors always said in school, it's like, if you have bad audio, you have a bad video. So
100%.
we have like we mic the groom with like a wireless lavalier mic. And
Yep.
then I also always put my phone up at the altar on voice memos just to have like a backup
Backup.
because I
Yeah.
always want two things of audio in case something bad happens because that's
Wireless
always.
mic drops out or something like that.
Yeah, and we have had bad experiences before, and the phone has, like, saved us, so always have, like, a backup of some sort.
It is so traumatizing, though. I don't think people who have, if you haven't tried doing this at home, folks, I don't think you understand how traumatizing trying to do videos can be, because there's so many points of failure. And
So
the
many.
audio, I completely agree with your instructor, because I've done so many of these lives now, and I used to do them, as a 3-person setup. As I said, if the audio is bad, people will turn it off straight away. If there
100%.
is a jangling in the background, if there's static, if it's peaking, that's the worst. I've had really, really big problems with peaking, and it just, I can't listen to it. People will tend to forgive like pixelated video
Yes.
more readily than they'll forgive bad audio. So when you go and do this, is it relaxing? Because I mean, I think I would enjoy it, but I'd also always have this low level anxiety. Oh my god, is that charging? Is this working? And like checking the meters every 5 seconds. Do you actually enjoy it, or is it like stressful?
There's like it goes back and forth because now I feel like Kristen and we've done this for so long that we literally have everything down to a science almost.
You have each other's
Um,
backs.
exactly. But there are moments where it's super stressful, like say like she's getting ready to walk down the aisle and the groom has the mic on and Kristen can't hear the audio. So
Mm,
there's things like that that will stress us out, but honestly, it's usually so much fun. Like a lot of the time we're just running on adrenaline and everything like that, but every time we leave a wedding, we're like that was so much fun. Like we get to be there on these days where everyone is so happy and like I just
yeah.
love so much and just like getting to be at that special point for these couples is so nice. But yeah, definitely always stressful. And whenever I learned this lesson the hard way, after a wedding, we always leave our SD cards in our cameras until we get back into the office because that way it's just like just don't touch them because then you'll take them out and what if you misplace them and then someone's whole wedding is on
Mm.
there because our during our first year after the wedding, I think I took the SD card out and then we were like rushing and I just don't even know what happened to it. And then it was a like a 4 hours drive away from where we live. So on the car ride home, I was gonna
Oh
import
no.
everything. And I was like, oh
Yep.
my God, where is the SD card that I took out last night? Like I couldn't find it anywhere. It was like we always joke about it still to this day because it was raining out. We pulled over on the side of the highway. We were digging out the car, like trying to find it. And the SD card, we keep a lot of our gear in like a little suitcase, and
Yeah.
the SD card went like under the lining of the suitcase.
Uh,
That's where we found it. And I found it and I was like, I literally was like, the business is closing. Like, I can't deal with this pressure
no.
anymore. So now I totally just, we are like, don't touch the SD cards until we are in the office. So I find you just like always pick up on these little things and you're like, okay, this works now.
Yeah. You got to get your workflow happening. I mean, do you actually use the SD cards, or have you moved to smaller ones? Because everyone is like, oh, it's smaller, it's greater. But then the ones that I use now, I think they're micro SD or something. They're so small, and you don't want to touch like the electronic part of it. They're so small that they're the size of my thumbnail, and
I
they're so
know.
fiddly. And then when you're trying to put them in, sometimes you drop them on the floor, or you drop them in a glass of water, God forbid. So are you using like the bigger ones? Because I kind of miss those ones.
Yeah, we use the bigger ones. The only ones we ever use the micro SD cards for is like we have like a little drone and that only takes micro
Yeah,
SDs because it's so
yeah,
small. But yeah, I don't like the little ones because I just get scared.
yeah. That's fair enough. So I was going to ask about drones. So have you added a drone to your repertoire as well for the aerial shots?
Yes. Yes, we have. Drones just really elevate any
Yeah.
video, I think, just to get the shot from
Mm.
way up there is so beautiful. Um, and thankfully, I don't know about where you live, but do you have to get like drone licensing and everything?
No, no, not here.
So here you have to take like this crazy, it's basically like an exam. Like my TV instructor from college like failed the first time he did it. That's how crazy hard it is. But our drone, I think it has to be 250 grams to need a license and ours is 249 grams, so it's just under what you need a
Okay.
license for. So it's
Right.
great, and we're super careful with it, and obviously we make sure no planes are, we would never go up that
Mm-hmm.
high or be around an airport and do it. But yeah, they're amazing what they can capture, and it's just like this little tiny thing, and it looks so beautiful. It's crazy.
Yeah. It looks amazing. The drone shots, I also have a Steadicam, a gimbal, and it just uses
Uh,
your phone the things you can do with, I mean, it blows my mind because back when I started using video cameras for the first time, there was no such thing as a Steadicam unless you're on a Hollywood budget. You're talking about $20,000, $30,000 piece of kit. And now you can just get these amazing shots. There's something different about them. I don't know what exactly it is, but drones, the Steadicam, I probably should get the drone license because I did have a drone once and I had it for 24 hours. It ended up in a tree. Well, it made friends with the tree and then landed on the floor and broke into several pieces.
Oh, it broke. Oh no. Ours hit a tree before, but thankfully it didn't break.
Well, I'm glad to hear. Yeah, it was traumatizing for me. Maria is here. Maria said, "Hi, Jane and Adrian. Love you, girl." Hello, Maria.
Oh, love you too. Hi, Maria.
Okay, so we've talked about a few different things. Just before we get to the final 10 questions, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to?
Ooh, if my mom is watching, hi, mommy, I love you. I hope she's watching. I don't know. I shared this on Facebook, so I'll have to send it to her after.
Is pageant mums the same? Is there such a thing as baton twirling mums?
Oh,
Because they're pageant mums.
definitely baton twirling moms. But it's funny because my mom, after I won Miss Confidence Canada, she's like, "So I'm like Mother Confidence Canada," and I was like, "Yes, that's your title."
Mother, I love it. All right, let's get through to the final 10. This is as pageant-esque as we're going to get. So, question 1, what is your favorite word?
Ooh, I'm gonna say confidence. I think
Appropriate.
that, yeah. So is this like a speed round, or should I elaborate a little?
You can do it as a speed round if you want, or you can elaborate. Either way, I'm good.
I'll do a quick elaboration. I just feel like confidence is so important, and I'm currently my most confident that I've been.
Nope. Jane, are you there? Oh, you just dropped out for a
Yep.
second. We've got you back now. You were just saying about your mother and you being the most confident you've been. So go from there.
Yes. So currently, I'm the most confident that I've ever been, and I just think it's such an amazing feeling. So I just want everyone else to kind of just be their most confident selves and be their true selves, and life is going to be amazing.
Question 2, what is your least favorite word?
Can't. Oh, you're frozen. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me
Yeah.
okay?
So, yep. So I would definitely say can't, because I think whenever you just like put that negative pressure on yourself, it's like you just need to think that you can do everything. Just, think that you're
Yep.
capable of everything.
Question 3, in life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
Ooh, this is very exciting. Scheduling. I am such like a this
You're one
sounds
of
so
those
crazy.
people.
Yes, I have an agenda for everything, and honestly, this sounds so dorky of me, but I love getting into the office with a nice pen and scheduling out my week, like physically writing things down.
No. Okay.
That's my jam.
It's so funny because I was watching one of my old interviews back with another Canadian pageant queen, Matea Henderson.
Yes.
Uh, and we got to talking about scheduling, and she got so excited about it. And she even has a backup planner, and she does all. It's all on paper. It's all on paper. She
Yeah.
had a backup planner in case she lost her. I was blown away. I'd never seen anyone get so excited about scheduling in
It's
my
so
life.
funny because I always like, because I work weddings and people book us years in advance, I've been carrying
Yeah.
around my 2021 agenda and my 2022 agenda with me for the past like 6 months.
Why don't you make the move to like an electronic one?
Oh, I can't. I need to write things down. The Even just the thought of an electronic one, like, puts, like, stress on my chest, like, I can't. Kristen, my business
Okay.
partner, always does the electronic ones, and I'm like, "No, I need to physically write things down." It's just my thing.
I would be so stressed if I lost that physical planner, though. Look at there goes my life. You talk about losing an SD card. Imagine losing. Oh, I don't want you
I
to
know.
imagine, but that
Can't
would
even think about
stress me.
it.
Oh, old habits die hard. Okay, so question 3 was what turns you on. Question 4, what turns you off?
Definitely complainers. People who just are always complaining about things. I'm just like, "Just gotta look on the bright side, we'll get through it, whatever."
Question 5, what sound or noise do you love?
Ooh, popcorn popping in a microwave. I love popcorn. So honestly, the sound of popcorn gets me really excited, and that's the first thing that came to my head.
I was listening to one of your podcast episodes yesterday, and I think I can't tell whether it was you or your co-host. One of them was eating popcorn. Is this a regular thing you
No,
eat during podcasts? Talking about audio, you're going to get some weird chewing sounds.
I know,
Is
that was
popcorn a thing?
Kristen, and I'm,
Right.
like,
Okay.
I'm the one who usually edits, and I was like, "Kristen, are you
You were
really
saying
eating right
stop.
now?"
Yeah, I'm going
Yeah.
to edit it out. Yeah. Audio, talking about audio, the worst thing you can have is
Yeah,
someone chewing into a mic.
literally.
Okay. All right. On the subject of noise, question 6 is, what sound or noise do you hate?
Do I hate? Honestly, new, like this is kind of bad. I'm not like I like country music, but, like, Luke Bryan and, like, all those guys, I just, like
Okay.
I'm not with the country music that's about, like, beer and dogs and your truck and all that stuff. I don't mess with that country music. But I love old country, and I weirdly enough, I love, like, female country artists, but for some reason, those, like that small group of men country, I can't listen to them.
I thought all country music was about alcohol. There was there was a TV, there was a late night TV show, and he was saying, I think all country music needs to stop promoting alcoholism because there was a top 10 of country hits, and everyone, literally in the title of it, had the mention of some sort of alcohol or was talking about buying a beer at the bar.
Yes.
So isn't that all country music? I just thought it was.
Not all. There's some that I honestly, I feel like a lot of it is, but there's just something about those, like, few guys that I don't know what it is, and they're so popular and so many people love them, but
Mm.
I can't get on with it right now.
I've got to ask, are you a Shania Twain fan? Talking about country and female and Canadian. Okay.
Love Shania Twain. I actually went to see her in, Prince Edward Island, which is one of our provinces, and she was amazing.
How was she live, just out of interest?
She was so good live, like, so good. So,
I would love to see her performing live. I've seen Celine. Speaking of Canadians, I've seen Celine Dion live. I haven't seen
uh,
Shania Twain live. There was a video of
Celine
her
live would be
performing with
amazing.
Elton John. Or Celine live is, I took one of the reasons I want. I don't know if she's still doing the Vegas thing, but just it's a whole show because there are artists who can sing into a mic and then can't perform to save their lives.
Yes.
But there are people who are better live, and I think Celine Dion is one of them. There's the whole theater and the whole stage production. It's amazing.
Yeah, she's
Um,
amazing.
Question 7: if you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
Teleportation, 100%. Because I just, like say if I feel like this always happens to me, I'll be, like, at a girlfriend's house, and we'll be, like, hanging out, and then it's, like, 10 o'clock, and I'm like, "Oh, the last thing I wanna do is drive home right now." And I would just love to
Mm.
just, like, snap my fingers and be, like, on my transport from their couch to my couch, like, that's the dream.
How much time do you spend on your couch? You've mentioned your couch several times this interview. You seem to quite like your couch.
You know what? I love my couch. I actually napped on my couch today, so I spend a lot of time on my couch. It's probably my
All
favorite
right.
place to be, honestly.
I can't judge. I sleep better on my couch than I do in my bed, so I like my couch too.
It's funny, if I'm gonna nap, I need to nap on my couch. I never nap in my bed. I'm also a huge napping person, but yeah, always gotta nap on the couch for some reason.
Yeah, I'm the same. Question 8: what job or occupation other than your own would you most like to attempt?
I think being like a host or like a news anchor of some sort, that's actually what I went to school for. I wanted to be on like
Yeah.
Entertainment Tonight as a host. And I always think that would be so much fun.
And what job would you definitely not like to attempt?
Ooh, anything like a labor job. Like my boyfriend's an electrician and just hearing his day, I'm like, I could never do that. Like crawling in these small spaces and being on your feet and like I just anything like in a trade, I don't think I would be very good at.
Would you do better at his job or would he do better at your job?
I think he would do better at my job, honestly. We had a live stream a couple weekends ago and he actually helped us with the live stream and he did pretty good. So I think he'd be better at my
Okay.
job than I would be at his.
Okay. Last question. Question 10: if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I would like him to say welcome, and there are a lot of people and dogs waiting for you in here.
What's your favorite breed of dog?
I have 2. So I grew up with Basset Hounds, which I just think they're so
Wow.
funny and floppy and ridiculous. So Basset Hounds, and I actually have a Corgi. Her name's Priscilla. She just turned 1 like a couple days ago. But now I want, because Priscilla is just like the love of my life, I want another dog, and I would love the next dog to be a Basset Hound. And I just think a Corgi and a Basset Hound would be like the perfect duo.
You talk about crazy cat ladies, you're going to be the crazy dog lady.
Yeah. Honestly, that's like my dream. I just love dogs so much. They're so cute.
Ah, dear me. Well, Jane, that's about it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun. I can't believe we're at like what, 50 minutes now? It felt like no time.
Well, that's what happens when you talk about things you love, like Olympic lifting and core activation. Um,
You're
I will
right.
keep you on the live for just a second whilst I hang up with the audience. Thanks everyone for watching, whether it's live or on the replay, and we will speak to you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Just a reminder to you entrepreneurial types to come and join us at our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/the pageant boss. I'll see you inside and see you in the next episode.